I'm starting to realize that my husband's behavior over mustard is more than just quirky. It's a sign of something much more concerning. Posted by you/throwrapickyeater. We've been married for 2 years and dated for 5. We're both 34. I'm a woman, he's a man, if that matters. I wouldn't call myself a picky eater. In fact, I'm quite adventurous and always make it a point to try unusual or uncommon dishes when traveling. There are very few foods I won't eat, but one of them is mustard, the condiment. I just don't like it. The taste is strong, overpowering, and unpleasant to me. I've tried every type: yellow, stone ground, honey, artisan, brown, spicy, you name it. I've given them all a chance, but mustard is simply not for me. My husband loves mustard, especially honey mustard. He puts it on everything: sandwiches, fries, you name it. For some reason, he can't accept that I don't like it. Every time he tries to force me to try it again, insisting I'll like it this time. I always say no because I know what I don't like, but this inevitably leads to mini arguments where he calls me picky. Last night things escalated. We were driving home from a weekend trip and stopped at a gas station for food. He got a hot dog covered in mustard while I got one plain. I don't love hot dogs, but will eat them occasionally. While waiting in line, he asked what I got on mine. When I said nothing, he became furious and grabbed my hot dog from me. He marched over to the condiment station and slathered mustard all over it, telling me to grow up and stop being picky. I walked out and sat in the car without saying anything. My appetite was gone. I didn't even want the hot dog anymore. When he came back to the car, he started yelling at me for embarrassing him further. For the first time ever in our marriage, the word divorce was mentioned during his tirade. I secretly recorded his yelling because I genuinely feared for my safety while he drove erratically, swerving and speeding down the road. I'm now staying at a hotel tonight. He ignored me all day while I was at work, but started bombarding me with calls and texts once he realized I wasn't coming home. One of his messages included a screenshot of him Googling local divorce lawyers. I haven't eaten all day and have been crying in this hotel room nonstop. I don't want to get divorced. I wish I had just eaten the mustard, but his reaction has left me completely broken. Am I in danger? Why would he react this way over something as simple as a food preference? Please help, I feel lost. First update, November 2nd, same day. Some answers to questions people have asked. 1. Regarding saying no to physical intimacy. He respected when I said no but would repeatedly ask for certain acts until I gave in out of exhaustion or dread. He even bought things to make it easier for me, but ignored how much I disliked doing it for him specifically. When I started responding with "Are you going to force me?" he'd get offended that I implied anything about coercion. 2. Support system. I don't really have one outside of him and his friends. My parents are deceased. My dad passed when I was a teen, and my mom recently died of heart failure, and I have no siblings or close friends anymore. 3. Financial independence. Thankfully, our finances are mostly separate except for one joint account we use for bills. We don't have kids or shared equity yet since we were planning to buy a house soon. I'm safe at work and staying at the hotel until further notice. He continues texting me. One message said he loves me and doesn't want to lose me, but claims I forced his hand by refusing communication or coming home. Last night, I forced myself to eat my favorite takeout, but couldn't taste anything. It felt like cardboard going down my throat. Instead of sleeping well, I stayed up compiling every instance of his concerning behavior over the years. Second update, November 2nd, same day. Thank you all for your kind words and resources. I truly appreciate them more than you know. He's now reverted back to saying he never wants to see me again because I am refusing communication or reconciliation efforts on his terms. While at work today, I considered going home just so this nightmare could end, but deep down, I know what awaits if I do. Another cycle of apologies followed by more control and manipulation disguised as love. I realize now that our normal was detrimental to me as an individual, and that hurts more than anything else right now. Third update, November 7th. I took this week off work as encouraged by my employer so that I could focus on finding a therapist specializing in domestic abuse, a realization that hit hard after recent events. He found out where my hotel was located, likely followed me from work, and confronted me in the lobby yesterday evening. During our conversation, he claimed he'd never hurt me physically despite ignoring how terrified his erratic driving made me feel last week. He dismissed my concerns about divorce as overreacting over one mistake. When angry at my refusal to return home with him immediately after talking things through calmly/logically first before deciding anything further together, mutually moving forward together peacefully instead. I pointed out the security camera and said if he tried to hurt me, there'd be footage and I would press charges without a second thought. He was completely shocked and said he'd never hurt me. I reminded him how I feared for my life in the car. He ignored me. He got pissed and asked if I was saying he wasn't normal. Honestly, I just wanted the conversation to be done, so I told him if that's really all he heard, then there was no point in talking anymore. I told him I was looking for a lawyer, and he should probably do the same if he hasn't found one. He lashed out and said, "All this over one mistake?" And I just stared at him. As I made a stand up, he grabbed my wrist hard, and I pointed at the camera again. This just made him angrier. He never could handle slights to his ego. One mistake. It wasn't one mistake. It was a pattern of abuse over years. It was threatening me, intimidating me. I told him if he tried to contact me again beyond sending me his lawyer's details, I'd be calling the police. He let me go. I want to say I was badass and celebrated in my room. I collapsed onto my bed and began sobbing. I was just so sick and angry and sad. He truly doesn't care about me. I've been crying on and off while calling local therapists. God, why is it so hard to find one? The amount of therapists that advertise but turn out not to be accepting new patients is unacceptable. I've looked into victims of DV support groups as well. In the span of less than a month, my life is completely changed. And he isn't remorseful at all. He just thinks it's all my fault. Fourth update, November 26th. I have a divorce lawyer. That's all I'm comfortable with revealing on here for the time being. I will also mention that I have moved locations. I am safe and secure. My work has allowed me to go fully remote. My soon-to-be ex does not have my location, nor are there any trackers on my phone. I am in contact with people and organizations who are helping me. Earlier this week, the calls and texts really ramped up. I was advised to leave him unblocked and simply muted so his messages would come through. I read a few since I was curious. He wanted me at Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He begged me to stop being this way, and what was he supposed to tell his family? Well, Thursday came and went. I had bought a couple of ready meals the night before, so that was my feast. I do want to take a break here to talk about my mom. Since it was only 3 of us every holiday, except the rare times friends would come over, my mom would make a turkey. She would buy a rotisserie chicken and dress it up with stuffing, etc. She'd make dishes we loved rather than traditional Thanksgiving dishes. My favorite side dish of all time was French fries. My dad loved grilled asparagus with cheese. So we would have a rotisserie chicken with French fries, asparagus, and some garlic toast, my mom's favorite. The first time I had real traditional Thanksgiving food at a friend's house, I apparently told my mom loudly I didn't like it and asked where the fries were, haha. So this year, instead of my soon-to-be ex's family's Thanksgiving food, I bought asparagus, fries, garlic toast, and a couple of slices of rotisserie chicken. It wasn't half as good as my mother's meal, but when I say I cried eating it, it felt like they were with me that night. I guess my absence at the dinner forced my soon-to-be ex to tell his family that I was separated from him. So Friday morning, I got a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I answered it, thinking maybe it was my lawyer's home phone or another person I was in contact with. It was my mother-in-law. She begged me not to hang up on her, so I stayed on the line. She went on about how I was her daughter. She loved me, her son loved me, and how could I leave him over something so minor? He only told his mom about the mustard, and even then, it was a watered-down version that made me look like a neurotic control freak who needed everything my way. According to my MIL, he just made a side cup of it for me and asked me to just try it in the car. And I started screaming I'd divorce him. She then started probing about which lawyer I was seeing and what I had told them. She also reminded me that lying in court was a crime. My lawyer had warned me to not reveal anything we had discussed to his family. It took all my willpower not to say anything. Instead, I hung up and muted her number, too. She hasn't texted or tried to call again. Trust me, I would have loved to send the recording of her son screaming saying he ought to smack me upside the head, calling me a stubborn bitch, that he would divorce me, and that he would run the car off the road if I didn't start acting right. I wanted to scream into the phone that her precious son started this mess, and I was simply doing what he wanted. I have come to realize you don't treat someone you love like the way he has acted. Normal people don't want to have sex with someone who has already said no. Normal people don't keep pushing and obsessing over food preferences. There is something seriously wrong with that man. He texted me last night, Friday, calling me a bad person for making his mother cry. He also said he would come find me, and it would take more than a locked door to keep him from getting me and taking me home. I forwarded those to the right people. I know this isn't a happy update, but things are moving along quite nicely. Fifth update, February 9th. I moved. I will not say where, but I have found a new home. My job let me stay on as permanently remote. I can't go into details about my divorce or other current legal proceedings, but I can say I was granted a protective order due to something that happened back in December. Due to the nature of what happened, I was hospitalized for a time. That was what I guess made me realize I wanted to get the heck out. I traded my car, had my phone checked for tracking apps/devices, and changed my number. He cannot contact me or have anyone contact me on his behalf. I am now several hours and state lines away from him and his wretched family. I moved with only 2 suitcases and a duffel of my stuff. I cannot wait to furnish and decorate my new home the way I always wanted it. I'm in therapy and I have a survivor support group I see weekly. I will be okay. I feel like I can finally breathe. Edit. You are all very kind. I've had a lot of people ask what happened that landed me in the hospital, and while I understand my story is entertaining, it was quite traumatic to endure. Respectfully, I won't share that until I'm ready. I appreciate all of the support, and I'm both touched and heartbroken by those of you who have shared similar stories in my comments and DMs. I'm simultaneously horrified that others have gone through this and relieved that I'm not the only one. New update, November 14th. Hello. It's been a while. I'd sort of forgotten about this account until I saw screenshots of my posts uploaded to Instagram. Some key points. I am still going to therapy, individual counseling, and bi-weekly group meetups for victims of domestic violence. I am absolutely not dating. I saw some comments that said they hoped I found a fairy tale man. That's the last thing I want or need. I strive for independence and self-love before I consider finding a new partner. It'll probably be years before I'm ready, and that's okay. I have discovered a love of cooking and trying new cuisines. I didn't realize how boring my ex's taste was until I escaped him. Slathering mustard on a $2 hot dog does not mean you have superior taste buds. Sorry, I had to get a jab in somehow. Nothing new or dramatic has happened, and that is the way I like it. What matters is I'm alive, and I'm happy. I didn't realize how little I'd made myself until I was given the space to be. That's all I'm willing to give for my update for now. Peace and love.